I think the artist side of a person may not understand the side of the producer.
Let's approach it like this. Ask a poet, how many people do they think they could fill a room with?
I don't even use the word exposure.
All right, maybe I can't afford to pay you the amount, but I'll pay you something that we agree on. I'll include things like a headshot. I'll include things like we'll record your performance professionally and give it to you, which you can then use as your portfolio.
And so Cat Williams, he had mentioned something similar to that in the Club Shay Shay interview. The thing is that people have to understand some independent artists may not have the same amount of money as some other organizations or people on a high scale. And I think the artist side of a person may not understand the side of the producer, the business owner, because they only understand the artist part. Ice Cube was coming from gangster rap to acting, and then he got into producing. He was telling these actors, I have a limited budget. I cannot pay y'all what the grand scheme of things of what you all supposed to be paid. I have a limited budget. So you have some people that want to talk about Ice Cube. He not paying me what I supposed to. He not paying me what I supposed to, or whatever. And he's telling you, this is my budget. Blase, blase. If you okay with it, great. Sometimes I want artists to understand the side of the promoter and not to get upset at the promoter if the promoter offer you something and then you say no and they say thank you and they go on. You as the artist shouldn't be mad at the promoter because that is probably what they have in their budget.
I think that also speaks to the power of negotiation because I may not be able to pay you, but there may be other things I can do to assist. And I'm not talking about exposure because I know some poets are like, oh, I don't want to get paid in exposure. I'm not just talking that. One of the things that, for instance, we do with the Verses is, for instance, let's just in terms of like the equipment we have. It's just like, all right, maybe I can't afford to pay you the amount, but I'll pay you something that we agree on. I'll include things like a headshot. I'll include things like we'll record your performance professionally and give it to you, which you can then use as your portfolio because you've probably seen it too. There's a lot of, relatively big name poets who, I think you see this especially outside of like spoken word and performance poetry, who you try to find online recordings of them, you try to find audio of them, you try to find video of them, and there's nothing to be found. There's nothing there. So it's like, this is 2024. Like, this is the direction that things are moving in. Video is a super powerful medium. And so, I'll pay you this rate. I'll give you this professional quality video that you can put on your own website and break into smaller sections and do what you want for your socials and things like that. Like, I think, and there's probably other strategies too that we can incorporate into it becomes a complete package.
Yes. And you brought up a good point because yes, that's also being offered as well. We do suggest that as well. You get a video of your performance. We're going to take pictures of your performance as well. Also, marketing. And I know people tired of the exposure word. I don't even use the word exposure. That's like you cussing somebody out. You cannot say, we don't use that no more. Like, look, any upcoming promoters and poets, don't say like, oh yeah, exposure. No. Don't say that. Use it. Look, you a poet. Go in a thesaurus and look for another word. Like, what can I use besides exposure? Because, you cussing people out when you say that now. A lot of people don't realize that. But yeah, so I love the art. I love the poets. I love the creative style of the arts of the poets. I see people always mention the same thing, and I don't think that's going to change. We're not paid enough. We're not seen enough. But I believe this is the time. This is the rise of the poets.
Let's approach it like this. I think, ask a poet, how many people do they think they could fill a room with? You know what I mean? And I think for a lot of poets, 10 people. Some of them just feeling guilty and feeling pressure. For a lot of poets. Some of your bigger names, 50 people. But then we approach, like, for instance, like Rupi Kaurs of the world, 2,000 people filling an auditorium, And I think the thing that's really important, and that speaks to what you're talking about with flyers and just kind of the hustle, is that it all comes down to reach. It all comes down to reach. Because Rupi Kaur, how many people do you think Rupi Kaur reaches?
I don't know. don't know, because it do depends on the reaches, and not only that, because once the other people know, they spread it to the other people, they spread it to the other people, and then a word of mouth travel. Actually, word of mouth travel stronger than them flyers and them the word of mouth is strong. You know,
that's, I don't know if you like follow marketers at all. One marketer I really like is Seth Godin.
Okay.
And Seth Godin has this concept. He has a book called Purple Cow, which I haven't read, but just kind of like summaries from it, which speaks to the idea that we need to be remarkable. Not remarkable in the sense of like high quality good, but remarkable in the real essence of the word, able to generate a remark. Because the reality is that if we are the only one talking about what we do, it is never going to achieve much velocity. But the minute that we can leave a room and people are talking about what we're doing with other people, that is when you're actually creating something that is remarkable and that can grow. And the more people you get knowing about you, you know, like for instance, again, going back to the Rupi Kaur example, you know, millions of people know who Rupi Kaur is, literally millions. But at the same time, millions know who she is, but dollar terms she's filling is 2,000. You know, which is great, but it's also like, you know, we're talking like 1% of people are coming out, or less. You know, so but that speaks to the scale that we need. You know, if we're trying to fill, if you're having an event and you're trying to fill 100 seats, that literally means you probably need to reach about 10,000 people.
Absolutely. I used to always calculate to do that same scale back in the days. I'm like, this many people, that means that I have to reach out to these many people.